With the current craze surrounding movie license tie-ins to video games, it's important that we recognize the new direction in which the video game market is heading by examining video games that utilize the concept of transmedia storytelling. Now, what exactly is transmedia storytelling, you may ask?
It's the ability to create a structured story over multiple forms of media, say, for instance, the internet, books, and in this case, film and video games.
Many of you are probably thinking, okay, sounds kind of interesting, but why is there a connection between film and video games?
The heart of this answer is best explained in the works of Ian Bogost and Paul Chang. You see, Ian Bogost talks about three key concepts, and I'm sure you've all heard of them. Play,
possibility spaces,
and procedurality.
Paul Chang fits into this three-part concept by focusing his attention on the last of these points, procedurality. By linking Chang's concept of representational agency to that of Bogost's idea of procedurality, we came to a very interesting conclusion.
The symbiosis of film and video games is starting to create more engaging worlds for video game players to interact with.
Even more amazing is the filmic tendencies that are being put into the video games to help solidify players' interest and subsequent long-term investment in the content that film-related video games provide.
But before we get way too ahead of ourselves, what do these concepts of representational agency and procedurality mean, and how do they interact with one another?
The concept of procedurality is one that ties into the other 2 points of Bogost's main idea. The video games create a controlled environment for players to immerse themselves in.
With procedurality acting as a set of rules for the game environment in which a story takes place, the setting or possibility space is heavily influenced by the way in which these rules mediate the relationship between the game world and the player.
Paul Chang's essay serves to further support the importance of procedurality by deeming it the key to keeping a player invested in the story and characters of a game, the very essence of representational agency. This is where the correlation between film and video games gets real interesting.
With the expansion of stories presented in feature films to the realm of video games, the lines between both mediums have begun to blur. This can be seen in the way that gaming technology has developed to accommodate the procedurality of current generation video games.
For example, the attention that has been given to making video game characters more lifelike has served to change the player-to-game relationship that is centered around the player's control of a game avatar to one where the player forms an emotional attachment to the video game character to how human-like the character seems.
L.A. Noire is a great example of the player's intended immersion into the life of the game character, as it incorporates the use of a 36-camera facial capture system that allows players to not only look like a real person, but to interact with extremely lifelike, non-playable characters, otherwise known as NPCs.
Additionally, the amount of attention that is paid to the lighting and sound design of games only helps to merge the sense of cinematic scope that could once only be found on the silver screen.
While video games may be creating a symbiotic relationship with films, it is important to note that the cinematic tendencies within them have only helped to straighten the representational agency of players, rather than turning gaming audiences into passive ones that define the film medium.
An interesting scenario presents itself with the increased cinematic experience that has lent to the video gaming experience, which has led to the procedurality of video games becoming a lot easier to manage, and thus video games audiences as well.
By pretending to give players absolute control over the possibility spaces they place themselves in, game developers reveal an important fact about the way in which video games as a medium are constructed.
Video games are designed with the promise of freedom for participants in the environments that the medium creates for the players. However, if this complete freedom were to be given to the players, an immediate loss of procedurality would result. This would in turn cause gamers to lose their immersion in games.
Thus, a false promise of freedom is required in order for the video game medium to successfully engage in gaming products.
Transmedia video games walk a thin line of engaging players without holding their hand through the game. This is because too much control over the foundation of a game, especially a film-related one, detracts from the immersion of audiences into the medium while simultaneously distracting from the content or message of the story that is being told.
At the same time, too little control results in a game like...
God, I can't stand that game.
Ring after ring after ring. Is that all they do in this game? I mean, like,
well,
really?
I guess they're going to show the clip.
You want to see this, right? Oh, come on. You really want to make me play this? Well, I'm going to do it just for you, because I like you a lot. Now, don't take that too serious. Here it goes. I'm turning on the power. And am I really doing this? Is this a Superman game? Flying through rings? Is that the best they could come up with? That's like if they made a Batman game where all he does is just play hopscotch.
This looks like a job for Superman.
Okay, time for the 6-second car stage again.
Get off! Get off!
Here we go. Got the car. Now what? Oh, the timer reset to 11. That's weird. But what do I do with the car? Okay, so there's another car coming. Can I stop it? Oh, this is the shits.
This is the shits. Basically, you gotta pick up both these cars and throw them before they hit the people. But guess what's after that? More rings! And after that, you gotta pick up a police car and carry it to the goal. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. You go through rings, pick up cars, go through rings, and pick up cars.
6, you mean? Hopefully, if we did our job right, you were immersed in this pre-recorded banter between the 6 of us.
It wouldn't have helped sell the idea if there was a disconnect between our on-screen and off-screen versions, you know? Just ignoring you to make you look stupid in front of the audience.
Well, it looks like this is the end of our on-screen time, so please feel free to ask our off-screen counterparts any questions you might have.
Signing off.